Hello, fellow movie crusaders, and welcome to our episode. My name is Sean Waskrug. With me, as always, is Brian Michaels. And today we're going to be reviewing one of the biggest films of the year, especially of the summer, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Before we jump into that review, like Brian and I always do, we're going to discuss some Nolan things. We're going to discuss our thoughts before we jump into the actual review. I think we both said we don't really have much spoilery to talk about.
Well, it's a 3,000-year-old story, so you can't really spoil much.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, it's like this has been done over and over and over again. And while, yes, there are some spoiler-esque moments, I want to say there's enough that we can talk about or at least work around it to a point where it's not like a spoiler.
Yeah, I can't think of anything we need to skip over. You can tiptoe around what you want.
Well, no, it's let's put it this way. It's going to be, I would think for the benefit of the people watching this, we just refer to the actors and not try to say the names. Because most of the names are going to be like, we're just going to butcher the fuck out of them. like Odysseus is one thing, but it's like, and Penelope is one thing. But then once you get to like the Mechilus and Melodies, and it's like, fuck, man. Okay, Pattinson. It's like Holland. Let's just do it that way. So we're going to preface this before we get into this. We are not, what are they called? What are the Nolan fans called? Do they have like a particular name?
Do they have a name? I call them fucking Nolan nut huggers is what I call them. Just a bunch of sheep is what they are.
As you can see where I'll go with this. We both appreciate Christopher Nolan as a director.
Absolutely. And most of his movies are great. He
is one of the best living directors today, hands down. But we are also very good at calling him out for his bullshit. Dunkirk, for example. Tenet had its cool moments, but what made no fucking sense at all. I will say Interstellar was one I hated when I first saw, but watching it a couple times afterwards, I actually have learned to appreciate that one a lot more. It's actually kind of been rising up my ranks as I've been going. But we are not those Nolan shills that are like, it's Nolan and oh my God, it's amazing. Fuck you if you don't like it.
Before they've even seen a frame of it, by the way.
Exactly. So we are not those kinds of people. We will call Nolan out when his stuff sucks. I think we both gave Oppenheimer a very high score, but we both also admit that this is probably not a movie that we would ever watch more than one time.
Probably.
Phenomenally acted, phenomenally directed. It was just like, yeah, I'm not really going to sit there unless I want. I mean, we are guys, but unless I want to see the Florence Pugh scenes, I don't really think I'm going to watch this movie more than the one time. So by going into that, plus I still think outside of the Batman trilogy, my favorite Nolan film is Inception. That's always my go-to for me is Inception. That's the one that like I've not counting the Batman trilogy is the one that I've watched the most times. It's the one I had the most fun with. I know it's not a perfect film. There are parts in that movie where I'm like, they could have done this better, or they could have changed this. But that one is probably my favorite Nolan film before going into this. So we first have to say is like, if we're praising this, guys, we're praising this because it's a good movie, not because we are like Brian said, Nolan nut huggers. So I watched this, I think it was Friday. You watched this one, Friday also?
Late Friday night, yeah.
Yeah. Brian was in California. He was on vacation. That's why we're shooting this so late. That's why this is getting released so late. So I had to wait for Brian to get back into town. I saw it Friday. I think I literally I think I stopped seeing it right when you were going in to see it. Because like I was like, look at the time, like, oh, Brian must be in the theater right now. So I won't message him. Brian had the luxury of being in one of the 41 theaters in the US that could actually see this movie in this true format. I got to watch it in the lowest form of format in a movie theater, not on a phone or a laptop, because I don't have an IMAX within an hour of me. So I saw it on a regular screen. So I know I missed like a good chunk of the screen and stuff like that. But Brian got to see it in the IMAX. Without like diving into the actual review of it, how was that experience seeing this in that IMAX?
Well, yeah, because there's only 41, or I thought it was less than that, but about 40 theaters.
From what I read, there's 41 theaters in the U.S. that can actually show Nolan's film in its true format.
In the 70 millimeter IMAX format. And this is the full size IMAX, not like the AMC version of IMAX that they have. So yeah, that was at City Walk Universal in Hollywood. And the coolest thing about that was they had right out front, like in the courtyard in front of it, one of the actual screen used like Trojan horses from the movie stand there. And so everybody's taking pictures around it. Of course, they got security guards everywhere, so you don't climb on it or anything. But they had that
People
right
would
up.
totally do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They're not trying to drill and climb inside it. Yeah. But they had one of those standing out front. And then when you went inside, they had like these glass cases, like a museum with all like the actual like costumes and uniforms of all the major characters. So that was really cool to see that. As far as the viewing experience of it, I did when I found out I was going to LA and it was going to be the week this was coming out. I went to get tickets, but of course tickets have been on sale for a long time. So, and this 70 million IMAX, because there's so few of them, they're sold out for like weeks. Like you look like a Tuesday morning at like literally 3 a.m. They have shows and there's full, sold out. It's crazy. But I managed to find there was a seat, so I was just going by myself, one seat at 11 p.m. Friday night, went and saw it. It was a little closer than I liked to be, but I wasn't like looking straight up or anything, but it was a little closer than I liked to be, but it's still awesome to watch.
That would be
I will say,
worst experience to be at an IMAX, the true IMAX, and be like,
yeah, it wasn't quite that bad. I was, it wasn't like I had to look up so much. I just had to look around to see everything that was happening, I will say that the IMAX is cool to see. I don't think it's necessary to watch a movie this way because he purposely framed it so like if you watch it regularly like you did, you're seeing the important stuff. It's just more sky, more ground. It just looks a little bit more epic because it's a bigger screen.
I know from people's visuals.
Mm-hmm.
The one particular scene that, and this isn't a spoiler by any means because it's in the trailer, when I can't say their names, but when the giants in the armor come at him, or first show up on my screen, you see them from like here, but I guess on your screen you could see their whole body and like then some. So like on our screen, until they got in, when the camera actually framed up to them, you only saw them chest high. Oh, okay. So you didn't see their heads.
Yeah, see, I think seeing it in IMAX, because it's basically a big, essentially square picture, not exactly square, essentially square. It looks really cool. So I was glad I got to have that experience to watch it like that. But I don't feel like you have to see this movie in IMAX. It's maybe makes you feel a little bit more immersed in it, but I don't think it's necessary. As far as the 70 millimeter as opposed to digital, I honestly don't see a difference. I don't know what the big deal is about watching these movies in 70 millimeter, because it looked great, but most movies I watch in IMAX look great anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing when you start going to like 4K, 8K. It's like if you're saying
the human eye can't even see 8K.
It's like if you saying you can see the difference, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I even have a hard enough time depicting 1080p to 4K unless I'm watching something that's like animated or computer animation where like, okay, that's I can tell, but it's like live action. It's like I don't think you can actually tell me the difference here. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, for me, seeing it just on a regular screen, there was never a time I think in the movie, except for maybe like the Troy scene and like the Cyclops and the giant scene, where I'm like, there wasn't like my brain was like, oh, that'd be so cool to see in IMAX, but it wasn't like, oh man, I'm missing something here. I'm so pissed I'm not seeing, like that thought was never in my head. It was just more like, this is a really awesome sequence. That would be so cool to see in IMAX, but I haven't seen an IMAX movie in 10 years now because where I used to live, there was IMAX. I'd see IMAX all the time, but it was AMC IMAX. So I'm 10 years removed from an IMAX movie. Actually, scratch that. No, I went and saw not Dawn. The Last Planet of the Apes movie. I saw that in IMAX because it was like for my birthday, and Kimberly took me like an hour away to go see that. Huh?
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Thank you, Kingdom. I wanted to say Dawn. I was like, that's not right. So that was about like almost 4 years ago. So that was the last IMAX I saw, and then prior to that was when I lived in Omaha. But no, there was never a moment while watching this where I was like, oh man, I feel cheated. Or I know I'm missing something. So if you guys are wondering, is it okay to watch this in regular theater? Absolutely.
Absolutely. What any of these directors do, going back to James Cameron, or even just back in the days when TVs were square and they'd make movies, a lot of directors would purposely frame it so that if you didn't have like the widescreen, that you weren't missing anything important. You might be getting more soldiers fighting over here or more, but you're not. It puts you a little bit more immersed in the movie, but they purposely make sure you're not missing anything. And Nolan's very careful about that. So
yeah. And he's one of those guys that's going to be like, if I can't make this shot look good in the IMAX, then we're not going to use the IMAX.
Right.
So that's one thing that Nolan's probably the best at over any director is utilizing that when it's apparent to use it, and when it's not, don't do it.
I will say, I don't. In front of yours, did it have a Dune 3 thing?
You talking about the trailer?
Well, no, they had like a full like 5-minute sequence or something.
No,
I think that was an IMAX. I don't know if it's the opening of the movie or just, but it had a little message said it from Denis Villeneuve saying, thanks to my friend Christopher Nolan, we're going to show you his tease of of Dune Part 3. And it was
I'm
awesome
glad I missed that. I would have been pissed. I don't want to watch anything.
I will say,
Dune until it comes out.
Honestly, seeing that in the IMAX, like a 70 millimeter, that looked awesome. I got to say.
So it looked good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just like one action
you're not the big Dune person. I'm not a big Dune fan, but I actually really enjoyed these Dune films. So I'm excited for Dune 3. I would have been mad if they showed a clip of it because I don't want to see anything until the day it gets released. I want to see it all. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Mr. IMAX. So what were your thoughts as I like Nolan, but I can't stand Nolan fans? What were your thoughts of the Odyssey?
And just to clarify, it's not all Nolan fans. There's a certain branch of Nolan fans who are just hardcore, just like, they just preach he's perfect. He could never do any wrong, no matter what he did. Those are the ones who annoy us and kind of almost make us like movies less. I don't think they go as far as to make us dislike movies, but it maybe dampens our enthusiasm when we're just like hearing these people just like overpraise. We're like, it's
the same people who go out and overpraise horror movies when they are just mildly good. This is not a knock on Obsession by any means, because I actually think Obsession is great. But like Backrooms, for example, or The Barbarian or Weapons last year, it's like the slightest good horror movie, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the best thing ever." It's like, it's not. It's good.
Right.
It's not the best thing ever. So, yeah, Nolan fans they tend to. Tarantino's got the same fans. I mean, it's just where they can do no wrong. By going into that though, what were your thoughts of the Odyssey?
Well, overall, I think it's a very good film. I would even go so far as to say I think it's an excellent film. It is not a perfect film though. I think some people are praising this as like, oh my gosh, this is a masterpiece and it's perfect and it should win every award, and it might, we don't know. But it's like I think it is an amazing achievement of what they made here. But I don't think it's perfect. I think my problems with it are mostly nitpicky. I think that much of it, and it's partially because of the source material, it feels very kind of almost stilted, like segmented. It like little vignettes as opposed to a smooth film, because especially I think jumping around in time sometimes I think doesn't do it any favors, because it's like we're going, okay, here's the Cyclops scene, okay, now here's the giant scene, now here's the witch scene, and it's like I feel like anything in between is just like transitioning to the next vignette that they're trying to get to, and none of it's bad. It's just it feels like the flow is a little bit stilted because of that. But again, that's because of the source material. You can only do so much with that. Acting, Matt Damon is amazing. I think that Tom Holland does a good job. I think that Anne Hathaway does a good job. I would say everybody. I was impressed with especially a lot of these supporting, like I believe his name is Hamish Patel. Is that his name?
Hamish Patel, who
from
Yuri Lapkus. I don't know.
Yeah.
His general, his number 2 army guy. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, I liked him. Charlize Theron, I actually really liked his Calypso. I kind of wish he was a little bit more in the movie, but that wasn't what her role was meant to be. John Bernthal as Menelaus. Leguizamo, I was actually impressed by, because you used to seeing him be kind of like the little smartass kind of guy,
or just an asshole.
Or just an asshole.
Yeah.
But in this one, I thought it was a very different role for him. And I actually, the first time they showed him, I didn't even realize it was him. As I started talking, I'm like, oh shit, that's Leguizamo. So I think he did an excellent job. I think if there are weak links in this movie, They are two, and they're the two that I would have probably said from the beginning. One, Mia Goth. Never understood people like her. I think she's a bad actress. She doesn't have a big role in this movie, so it doesn't affect that much. But I didn't really like her that much. And the second one, again, not bad, but I just don't think he's a great actor. Robert Pattinson, honestly. I think that I think sometimes he's just trying a little too hard. I don't know. I mean, he's not a bad actor. It didn't like hurt the film. If I had to pick a weak link out of it, was that. And one curious casting, I will say, Agamemnon, like the king who Odysseus is fighting for and everything.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were being very mysterious about not showing who he was. And then at one
they
point
were going out of their way not to show his face.
Yeah, going out of their way. And then at one point they did a brief flash, but I couldn't see who it was. So I'm like, oh,
I saw who it was.
And so I went home and looked it up. It's Benny Safdie. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, what's the big deal? Why were they being so secretive and weird about it?
I think for me personally, it's like because I wouldn't be able to take Agamemnon seriously if it was Benny Safdie.
I guess, but in that case,
at that point, just don't cast him.
If he wants to be in the movie, put him in something else, and then put somebody else who's could be more like a king.
So they went out of their way to make sure you didn't see it was him for a lot. You saw him for a blink and you miss it.
Oh yeah,
and I mean literally blink. And you
like I saw it, I couldn't even tell who it was. It was a guy with dark hair. That was all I saw.
Yeah.
So there's that. But other than that, I think, like I said, the cast across the board is great. I think they obviously did not care. There's a whole people who are just looking to cause trouble, who are talking about the race of everybody, and or even like the transgender with Elliot Page. And it's like he right up front. I mean, I think maybe the first character you see is Elliot Page. I think. At least in the first.
Elliot Page is the very, very first character you see in the movie.
And so right up front, Christopher Nolan's like, I don't care what you think. I've worked with this person before. I want to put him in this movie too. And now they don't have a big role.
The big uproar was that for some reason, everyone thought that they were playing Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Achilles is not even in this movie. And if he is, you don't ever hear Achilles' name. You don't see Achilles. Yeah. But everyone thought that Elliot Page was Achilles, and he's not.
Yeah.
Or they're not.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was Lupita Nyong'o playing Helena Troy.
Lupita Nyong'o, who is a beautiful woman, and it's like,
why is this a problem? It's not a problem.
But wasn't she also like in the mythology, like born out of a fucking egg or some shit like that? It's like, this is mythology. There are cyclopses and people turning into pigs and shit. This is not reality. So we don't care about the nationality of these characters because it is a fictional story. And I think that he just went out of his way to be like, I don't care what people think, because like I said, you got Hamish Patel, you got William Lee, who Asian actors, you got John Leguizamo, you got black actors. So I didn't care about any of that. I think that everybody, I thought, did a phenomenal job, and I enjoyed the cast across the board. The action sequences I thought were very well done. There a couple times, now this might have been just me in the IMAX, a couple times I wished they would have held the camera a little bit more still so I could tell what was going on. But
I think that was more because you were up close. I thought it was very well shot.
And for the most part, I didn't have that problem. It was once or twice I was just like, wait, what the hell's going on? Because I don't think it was badly shot. It was just hard for me to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, this problem I did not have in this movie and expected to, the sound design. For once, he actually made it so you can understand what the fuck people are saying, even when there's other shit going on. So
yeah, like yes. Even in the quiet moments, I'm like, I can hear perfectly tonight.
Right. So overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I currently have it at a 4. There's a good chance it's going to go to 4.5. I'm not going to give it 5 just because it's not perfect in my eyes. But it is very enjoyable. And so that's my thoughts.
So a high 4, borderline 4.5 for Brian. Yeah. For me, I am actually one of those people that think that this might actually be Nolan's masterpiece. I thought this was perfect. Well, I don't want to say perfect because there's no movie. Even Jurassic Park and Jaws aren't perfect. But I was watching this and I was in just complete awe for most of this film. Like I actually was going to go see it right after work and I canceled it because I was like, I am tired. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some slow moments and I'm going to fall asleep. And this movie is going to be potentially too good for me to do that. So I went home, took a nap, and I was like, all right, I'll go see it like later in the night. And I'm glad I did. but as soon as this movie started, I was just enthralled with it. One thing that you can never attack Nolan for is the cinematography and the way everything looks. Everything in this movie looks amazing. Acting, like you said, across the board. Matt Damon, the only other performance I could see that maybe rivals his performance in this is The Martian. I thought he was fantastic in this as Odysseus. And Hathaway, I mean, I don't want to say a small part because she's got big parts in it, but because the story is the Odyssey, she comes in and out. Same thing with Tom Holland. But I thought Anne Hathaway was fantastic. Tom Holland was fantastic. John Bernthal was great. John Leguizamo, this is hands down his best performance in his career. Hands down. I'm watching this and I'm like, dude, I'm so happy for you. Like I was wanting to shed a tear because I love John Leguizamo, but I know he's not loved by a lot of people. And I know, like, every time I see him, I get so excited. His roles are always just so stilted. And he either plays an asshole or a smart ass. And I was like, one of these days he's gonna get a role that's gonna be good. And this is that role.
This is gonna be my favorite performance it is, but it's definitely his best performance.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you go to a favorite performance, you just gotta go something that makes him laugh, that make you laugh. But this is hands down his best performance he's ever done. And I hope that this opens the door for him. I got excited when I saw Corey Hawkins because we both like Corey Hawkins. Yes. He's not in it as much, but I was so happy.
You know who I got sad when I saw?
Who?
Ryan Hurst.
Yes,
I saw him on screen, and my mind went immediately, "Yay!" Oh, because I just thought that God of War news.
And that's nothing to do with his performance. He is great in this, but this was just after.
Because the news, like, was it the same day or the previous day?
It was literally like the same day because we just heard because he had got cast as Kratos in God of War, which I was actually really really excited for. But then he tore his tricep or bicep or something, and they fired him. Well, they didn't fire him; they had to let him go from God of War, so they got to recast that. And then, of course, here he is, and we're like, yeah.
And they'd already filmed like 4 full episodes. But the problem is, I think they said that it would take a
year for him to get back,
and then like a good year before he could really use it again. So it's like,
and then he has to build his muscle back up. And they're saying, well, the kid who plays Atreus is gonna age, and it's just not gonna work. So it sucks.
But anyway, so I was sad. I was happy and sad at the same time when I saw him.
Yes, there's so many people that were in this that I got so excited to see. It is a little weird seeing John Bernthal and Tom Holland play 2 characters next to each other, and then in 2 weeks we're going to see them as Spider-Man and the Punisher. That's a little weird, but that has nothing to do with the movie. It's just more like, hey, look, they bonded in other movies too.
Zendaya's there too, so
exactly. But the way you were saying that you had, not that you had issues with it, but it was more the fragmenting of the story, I thought worked based off of how they were portraying the story, because it was more fragmented, because it was Odysseus trying to remember. So it would come in fragments for him like that. So like, as I was watching it, I was about 2/3 of the way through and I'm like, am I enjoying how they're telling the story? Because it is very non-linear and all over the place.
I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it because of that. I don't even think that really hurt the movie so much as it's just like, I think I would. I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, because like in my head, I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to like kind of get like a little bit prepared for this. And I was like, there's kind of 4 storylines going on. Mm-hmm. You've got the story in Ithaca with Anne Hathaway and Holland and Pattinson and Leguizamo. Then you've got Matt Damon with Calypso, or Odysseus with Calypso. That's going on. And then you've got once Holland leaves and he goes and he finds Bernthal, you have that plot line, and then you have the actual story of the journey. And so you have like 4 different plot stories going on, and some get more use out of it than others. And I don't think Pattinson was bad in this. I think Pattinson was actually very good. I don't think he was bad.
I just think he was, if I had to choose the weakest link.
I think the problem with Pattinson in this, and this is going to be like, for you, I think he needed more time on camera, because the Ithaca stuff was very heavy in the beginning. And then once we actually got into the story of Odysseus and him remembering everything, going through that, they don't really go back to that at all. So it's like you see Pattinson and Hawkins and Anne Hathaway and all them for probably about a good 30 plus minutes at the beginning of the movie. And then you don't really see them again for like an hour and a half to, so. And so it's like, as I was watching, I was like, Pattinson is doing a good job, but he's not getting enough screen time to have it matter.
Well, and also I
feel
think
like
part
he
of it might
needed a
just be
few
my
more
perception.
scenes.
I think part of it might just be my perception because both Pattinson and Corey Hawkins, you know, generally don't play bad guys. They're generally like your protagonists, you're good guys. And so it's like, and in this one, they made them so like almost mustache twirling, like, oh, we're gonna take over, we're gonna kill off him, and it's just like I think, like you said, if they had more time, there could be a little bit more nuance in there, you know.
See, and the problem is that this movie's already almost 3 hours long.
Well, they
So
didn't give
like,
more
where are
time.
you gonna? Yeah, it's like, where are you gonna fit that time? You can't. And it's like it got to the point where it's like you were almost overstuffed with these great performances that you wanted more time with them so they could actually do more with them. And Pattinson and Hawkins and even Anne Hathaway, because every time she was on screen, she fucking killed it. Maya Goth, I think it wasn't until her third scene that I was like, oh shit, that's Maya Goth. I like didn't even like, it wasn't until you found out that she was, you know, connected to Pattinson that I finally was like, oh, there's Maya Goth. Because I've never seen her. I was like, I thought she was in this, but I haven't seen her yet. And I was like, maybe she's like a siren or something. I was like, oh, she's been here the whole fucking time. And I just have looked at her and just not even like fucking like mattered in her. But like even like Logan Marshall Green is another actor that you and I both like. And it, like he popped up and I'm just like, where the fuck was he? You know? But yeah, but it's like when we actually get into these set pieces, Troy, what I love is that this could be a perfect counterpoint to Troy. Because like, yes, I know they're playing different actors and Matt Damon and Sean Bean are playing the same character and stuff like that. But I love that like Troy was showing the side of Troy and everything happened over there. And then this is like not showing anything that's on the side of Troy. So you could actually kind of watch these together to a point. I thought the attack on Troy and the horse sequence I thought was really well done. And I like that it was, once again, in fragments. Like you didn't really get to see the full story of the Troy attack until near the end of the film. The Cyclops scene, I loved that scene. I love the design of Cyclops. I know that's not his name in the movie, but I'm not even going to try to attempt to say the Cyclops' name in the movie. I loved how they did that sequence. The giants, I kind of just wanted more because that was such a cool visual and it was so quick. But I wanted more. The scene with Cersei, that's all I'm going to say. That was horrifying. And it made me go, how would Nolan do with a horror movie? Because this is, I mean, I'm not like terrified, but I'm like, this is a terrifying sequence. I'm like watching like, holy crap. Like,
well, even the Cyclops scene plays out like a horror movie, yeah.
Oh yeah, like those two scenes alone, but like when Cersei's doing what she's doing, I'm just like, oh my god, this is a fuck. You know, like, dude, Nolan would do really good horror. And then I had to like stop and go, pay attention to the scene, Sean. Each set piece I really liked and enjoyed. Even the whatever the fuck the thing was on the rocks. Sicily?
The thing on the
like
rock.
the whirlpool, and then there was the thing that like came out of the mountain.
Oh, I don't know what that was called.
I don't know. It's like a Sicily or Sicil or I can't say it. Like I said, I'm
weird spider.
Yeah, it's like some monster thing. That was so just like wham. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's really cool. But nonetheless, it was 3 hours, almost 3 hours. I was never bored. And I was never going, how much time do we have left? Oppenheimer, there was times where I'm like, are we close to the end here? Because like, it's fantastic. I'm watching, it's great acting, but I can only sit there and watch, you know, so Cillian Murphy talk about the atomic bomb for so fucking long. But this was like, I was so into this from the very beginning and loved all the performances. And I will shit you not. There is one scene, and I know you're gonna know the exact scene with a dog that is one of the most. I'm not talking about the beginning because I will say you. I know you have a problem with abuse on animals, especially dogs.
Between Evil Dead, Vern, and this movie, the last two was on theaters.
Yeah,
dog abuse. Not a fan.
the beginning of the movie, if you have issues with dog abuse, the beginning doesn't help. But there is a moment near the end of the film with a dog that is it almost brought me to tears. Like I got actually like emotional in that scene. I'm just like, the actors in the scene, because Tom Holland sold the shit out of that scene, but the dog actor, the animal, the dog, I call him an actor. He's a fucking actor. I don't care. That dog was amazing. That dog was amazing in that scene, and it got me like I could feel my eyes welling up, and I was like, damn, that was a good scene. But yeah, the action was great, and like I said, I went like after it ended, I was like, okay, I don't want to go off recency bias. You know, I don't want to go, it's the best. But I started looking at all the other movies, and I'm like, my favorite Nolan movie is obviously Dark Knight, with Inception like right behind it. And it's like, I love Dark Knight, I love Inception, but I can see things in it that bug me or I didn't like, or was like, As of right now, I'm now 2 days removed seeing the Odyssey. I still, the things that I would go on, it's either I want more time with the characters, like Pattinson's character, or it's because that's how the frame of the story had to go, and it makes sense based off the story that they were telling. Because like you were saying, it's like the things that you would attack, you can't fairly attack it because that's how it was in the story, you know. And I think the only thing he legit kind of changed was the ending of the Odyssey, because that's not how it ends. Because there's like Odysseus' father, which is completely not even in the film. But there's little things here and there. But from beginning to end, I absolutely loved everything that I saw. Visually, everything looks amazing. Sound design for a Nolan film is great. All the acting across the board was fantastic. The journey that they went on, especially with Matt Damon. And then also just like the underlying story, because there's always like an underlying story when it comes to Nolan, but it's all about the Zeus's Law thing. And like, I normally don't like get philosophical when I watch the movies. Like, I'm just like in it. But like, as I was watching, I was like really kind of understanding what Nolan was trying to do in the movie. And I was like, holy crap. Like, is it just because I took a nap before this? Because like, I'm like seeing this like in so many different, I was like, is this just like, I'm just on the same wavelength as Nolan for this? Because I've always like enjoyed Nolan, but I've never been on the same wavelength as Nolan when he's telling this, you know, this stuff. But I absolutely loved it. I am at a low 5 or a very high 4.5. Right now I've got it at 5 stars. Could I watch it again here by year's end and maybe I find some nitpicks and I drops down to a 4.5? Maybe. But I will say there's been only 3 movies this year that I have, mainly 2, where I have watched it the whole way through and I'm like, I absolutely love and adore this movie. This, Project Hail Mary, but even then I could still see things on Project Hail Mary that they could have done a little bit better. The Furious, which the end didn't 100% work for either one of us. And then Pizza Movie, but that's just out of pure fucking hilarity and enjoyment. Odyssey to me felt like the most perfect film. Perfect execution, perfect directing, perfect sound, perfect cinematography, perfect acting for me across the board. And we still got Dune coming up this year and some other big films. So in terms of where we're at for the year, it's going to be a tough race for me when it comes to the end of the year for my rankings. And this is coming from someone who literally will shit on Nolan if he sucks. But I absolutely love this movie. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, well, first of all, I've already bought mine up to 4.5, I think. Just while we were talking.
I sold them.
You sold them. No, it was always like literally when I posted my review, I like had 4.5. Wait, no, 4. Wait, 4.5. 4. Mm-hmm. So, but I've already bumped that up. But yeah, I mean, it was a great film across the board. It's probably the best. Well, yeah, it's the best movie I've seen so far this year. I don't know if it's my favorite movie this way, because like, you know,
that's gonna be the thing is like it is hands down the best fucking film of the year. But how you and I rate our things, will it be our number 1 by year's end? Maybe not, because we add our value or our entertainment into it. So like if in terms of like let's say for me, Project Hail Mary and this is my number 1, number 2. If I had to sit down and watch one, which one am I going to watch? I'm probably going to watch Project Hail Mary because I'll laugh more. and have more like fun with it. But if I want to appreciate a movie, and then I'm going to watch obviously the Odyssey. Whereas with you, you're probably going to watch The Furious. So it's like, yes, it is the best fucking film of the year. Is it going to be our number one by the end of the year? Who knows? Because like I said, for me, I got Dune 3 still. We still got Spider-Man, and we got some other films that either we don't even know
Doomsday
yet. Yes. And even the end of Oak Street, which I have a feeling that one's just going to be.
There's a lot of great stuff coming out. As far as Nolan films, I'm kind of was in the same boat as you, where it's like Dark Knight's kind of still my favorite, probably, even though it's not a perfect film. It's got some flaws, but there's enough about it that I love. That's my favorite, followed closely by Inception. This one, it probably passes Inception for me, just barely. I think I probably still enjoy Dark Knight more. But again,
definitely enjoy Dark Knight more. Yeah.
But again, if we were going by which one do I think is the better film, it'd be this one. Yeah. Oh, and one thing I want to add, if you like this story, if you like the story of the Odyssey, obviously there's been other versions of the Odyssey. There's like a whole TV miniseries with Armand Desante, and there have been other things. There is one that came out a couple of years ago called The Return. It stars Ralph Fiennes as Odysseus, and I think Juliette Binoche, is Penelope. Basically, that movie is just about his return, like when when he gets back. This is not spoilers. When he does get back to Ithaca, and everything that occurs there, and it occurs in the same way as in this movie. So it's they both kind of follow the very ending, like you said, is not the same. But as far as the main portion of the whole movie is that, and it's actually a very good film, and Ralph Fiennes does a phenomenal job. So I'd say anybody, if you like this, check that out. It's just got a little extra something to watch.
So what were your guys' thoughts? Did you guys love the Odyssey as much as we did, or did you guys not like it? Honestly, I really can't see anyone not liking this unless they just don't like these kinds of stories and they're bored by it. But let us know in the comments below what your thoughts were. Coming up next, we got nothing next week except for mainly we got streaming stuff next week. We got 72 Hours on Netflix, which I don't know if we're either going to enjoy that. We've got The Dink on Apple, which I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's some indie ones. There's Her Private Hell and Motor City, which it looks like it's going to be small release. I don't know if I'm going to get Motor City in my area. I do want to see that, though.
I think it's getting a decent release. I'm definitely going to see that one. And there's also, if you're a musical lover like me, they're putting a stage recorded version of Hadestown in theaters for only like 10 days or something like that. But yeah, then after that, Spider-Man. So
yeah, Spider-Man, we are 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks out from that. Obviously, we'll be back talking about that one together. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like, share, subscribe button to the channel. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets below. Also, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. If you guys can't watch us, you can listen to us and hear our thoughts on all the movies so far. Don't forget to go back and check our first half of 2026 review, where we go over the best, worst, disappointing, and surprising films of 2026 so far. Odyssey definitely started off the second half of 2026 perfectly well, even though we're already like 3 weeks into the month. We both saw Evil Dead Burn. We just both decided to not do a review for it. But we both have written reviews on our Letterboxd, so feel free to check that out on there. But yeah, until next time, we are the Movie Crusaders. I'm Sean Waskrug. That is Brian Michaels. And until next time, in case we don't see you, go watch some movies and go have some fun.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.